Hello, this is the third of my help videos for CartRack. We're on CartRack Yard and the version from October 2018. This one is about using Driver. So this is about opening sessions, playing your audio. So that's MP3s, WAVs and FLACs, and the three modes you can use to do that. I need to actually open CartRack. Let's go back to there. As I said at the first video, I recommend using the D drive, or certainly not the C drive. And this is the folder. You can put it anywhere you like, as long as all these files are together. This is the exe. There we go. A little bit slow on here because I've got software recording all this. So just chat amongst yourselves. While we're waiting, there we go. I'll give you a little. We got 4 stereo channels down the bottom, and this window always pops up at the start. It can be opened again from this button up here, top right, Sessions Config. I'll go into more detail of what these tabs do in a future video, but I have my path set here to where I keep my CartRack sessions. CartRack will remember this, so I recommend you just have one, unless you've got lots and lots of session files. Then you never have to change this again, and all your sessions will appear in the box down here. Let's open number 1, which is the one I think we were playing with before. You can double click it or press OK. By the way, if you haven't seen the CartRack group on Facebook, it's worth joining up to it. I don't spam you. I very rarely make updates, but you'll see when new versions come out, and obviously you can bung me questions. Okay, let's open this session, which I've called Archive 01. Gosh, this is so slow with this software running. Right, here we are. Now, if you remember, we have 18 page buttons, potentially 882 tracks. We can have 2 views of all these buttons, and you can toggle that by pressing this track title button down here. Now how what you actually use them for is entirely up to you, but the idea was that on this first set position, the labels on the buttons are the song titles. Now, if you do this, you'll see in the future that there are some advantages if you're able to prepare yourself in the way you name your files. If you click this button, and so it says artist, then probably you can see the artist names on those tracks. And if you notice, if you hover over any of the buttons, you get a tooltip with the length of the track and whatever is the opposite field. So Spandau Ballet and chart number 1 is the song. Now, this default state that CartRack Driver opens in is called normal mode, and that's shown on this button here, brackets normal. So we're in normal mode. Now that just means we have 4 stereo channel outputs. Ideally, each of those is pointing to a separate sound device, and obviously you're into a mixing desk and you can fade between them. To load a track on these, simply left click. Notice in this window that's telling you that it's found a track, and it's sort of like it's on the end of your finger, ready to be loaded. It will time out. So let's do it again. We're going to do that track. Then go to whichever one of these labels you want. Now it's the label itself, and you click on it. That is now loaded. Let's set a few up. Click, click. What we've got on here? Click, click. Oh yeah, hello, this is Joni. Click, click. There you go. And to play, unsurprisingly, click the play button. There we go. That's normal mode. While I'm here talking about play buttons, I suppose it's probably a good time to mention that you can have effectively a hardware controller. The buttons, it's probably less complicated to look in the help files, which you can do up here. The number pad buttons on your keyboard drive pause, play and stop for each button. On the Facebook page you can see that you can actually get a cheap device that emulates a keypad or a keyboard, in fact, but you just program in a few of the switches and put some buttons on a box and you can fire these off on a nice little controller. Obviously a touchscreen would be good as well. Right, normal mode, that's pretty straightforward. Let's have a look at the other available modes. First off, actually there's a sub mode. So this is a part of normal mode and it's called hands free. So we'll select that. Now what that means is that it's a bit like a DJ being able to go off to the loo, and just to make sure he can get back, each track will follow the previous one. As long as you start on number 1, whichever ones are loaded after this, and they don't all have to be, it will play through each of them. Now I'm using there's a feature of this scroll bar. If you click on it and scroll with the mouse wheel, you can actually scroll through. So let's get right to the end. Last few seconds. Of course, now it doesn't do anything fancy like crossfades, so bear that in mind. Boom. Next one's gone straight off. There's the next one. This is hands-free mode under normal mode. And then the last one. Then when that track is finished, when number 4 is finished, it falls out of that hands-free mode and we're back to normal mode. Okay, the next main mode is instant. Select. Now what this does, if you bounce between modes, you've got to be really thinking about what you're doing, because now if I click on a track button, that track will fire straight out of number 4. And it's very responsive. But you notice that I've still got those tracks loaded in the first 3. So what you could do in normal mode is load, for example, some beds or a bed, and that can be playing, and then you fire whatever else you want over the top. Okay, that's instant mode. Probably best, if you were using this as a jingle player and you had some other way of playing music, this would be good as a jingle player. Then the third mode is autopilot, which is really just a playlist mode. To create your playlist down here, you just click on the tracks in order. Now you can put all 182. If this was fully populated, you could have a list 182 tracks long. You can move them around. So I've got Funky Town click there. If I go up, let's move it up the list a bit, make that the top one, which it already was. Look at that. Coincidences. Obviously you can clear the whole list, you can remove that track from a list, and then you can save the list. That gets saved to this session. We're on archive 01. Let's save that and reloaded everything. Pretty straightforward. Press play and it will just work its way through the list. Now if you want to skip the tracks, you've got to enable that just to avoid error. Okay. Then the other thing to note is here you've got some options about how much gap you want between each track. Either none at all, and of course with a lot of tracks that fade out, that might be your best bet. You can have half a second, just have a little momentary pause. 1 second, 2 seconds, that's going to be much like a CD, or infinite. Now that just means it will queue up the next track. Now that might be more useful depending on what you're doing. So let's play that one, and can I jump forwards? There you go. That's now sitting, waiting for you to say, okay, I'm ready for you now. And away we go. Okay. Shut that up. Oh, I think that's enough for this video. No, there's one more thing. Sorry, let's go back to normal mode. I don't want to save that list. Let's say we are fully populated here, and some of these tracks have been played, and I'm a neat and tidy person, and I want to clear these. Just choose an empty button and then operate in the way you would in loading a button, but in loading a track, but it will clear it. Okay, there we go. There we go. The next video will be about a little bit slightly more advanced editing of these Navigator sessions in Navigator. Thanks very much.